Welcome back to our how-to series on the Climatiq Excel add-in. In this video, we will cover the Climatiq Procurement by Activity ID formula. This is useful for calculating emissions for GHG Protocol categories 3.1, which is procured goods and services, and 3.2, capital goods, which are usually the biggest contributors to Scope 3 emissions. Behind the scenes, this formula uses Excel-based emission factors, which is based off a large-scale economic model that maps spending to environmental impact. Excel-based factors reflect factory gate emissions in basic prices, but businesses' spend is typically in purchaser prices that includes margins, transport, and taxes. Climatiq automatically converts purchaser prices to basic prices before calculating the emissions. The tool also corrects for inflation and currency using Eurostat and World Bank data, ensuring accurate emission calculations regardless of when or where purchases occurred. Together, these adjustments make your results both accurate and audit-ready and fully aligned with the GHG Protocol Scope 3 methodology. Let's start by taking a look at the documentation in the task pane. The formula is under the Procurement heading as Procurement by Activity ID, Climatiq Activity ID, and it requires 5 inputs. The activity ID of your emission factor that you want to use, the region, year, amount, spend, and currency. If you're unsure of where to find activity IDs, there are 2 easy options. One is within Excel. You can use the search sheet from the Climatiq template, which you can insert in the add-in task pane. Simply set the unit to money and the source to Excel-base, and the table will refresh with the relevant emission factors and their activity IDs. Alternatively, you can visit the Climatiq Data Explorer on our website at climatiq.io/data. From there, you can search for spend-based factors from Excel-base and copy a suitable activity ID directly from there. Let's walk through a quick example. Here, I have a file that contains a list of procurement transactions from the last quarter. One of these entries shows a purchase price of 15,000 euros on office furniture in Germany in 2024. To prepare the file, I'll make sure I have columns for activity ID, region, year, amount, and currency. I already searched up and pasted the activity ID that corresponds to office furniture manufacturing from the search sheet into the first column. With the data ready, we can move to the calculation. To start, click on an empty cell, hit equals on your keyboard, and select the Procurement by Activity ID formula from the list. Alternatively, you can also insert the formula directly via the Excel task pane on your right-hand side. Then select each input one by one. The activity ID, region, the year, the amount, and lastly the currency. And it's important to separate these by a comma or a semicolon, depending on your Excel settings. Close the brackets and hit enter. Within a few moments, the formula returns your emissions estimates. Before we review these estimate outputs, I recommend clicking the Add Header button in the task pane to label the columns. It makes it easier to read and interpret the results. Let's take a closer look at what's being calculated. The first value you'll see is the total emissions estimate in kilograms of CO2 equivalent. Alongside this are the details on the exact emission factor that was used to perform the calculation. Following this, we have the activity value, which represents the final adjusted spend amount used in the emission calculation after applying all the trade, tax, transport, and inflation adjustments to the original spend amount. To finish off, we have the tax, trade, and transport margins that were applied, as well as the inflation adjustments made based on your provided spend year. To make the calculation for all of the rows of business data that you have in the sheet, simply pull down on the formula to apply across all of the data. Finally, if you want to get a quick start, Climatiq also provides a ready-made Procurement by Activity ID template. You can find it in the task pane under the Templates tab. It includes pre-filled examples, required inputs, and active formulas so you can edit or expand with your own data. You've now learned how to make inflation and margin-adjusted procurement calculations directly in Excel using the Procurement by Activity ID formula. To explore more advanced options such as classification-based procurement calculations or even automated factor matching using Autopilot, check out the next videos in this how-to series. I'll see you in the next video.